Welcome again. My name is Troy Barrett and this is How to Barbecue. Today I'm going to show you the simplicity of barbecuing a tri-tip. The tri-tip is a cut of meat from the Pacific Northwest, and it's really known as something that is easy to barbecue in 3 hours, have ready for your family or ready for your guests. So what I want to do today is just show you a simple recipe, and we'll go right to the ingredients. So in this recipe you need some sort of a binder when you put on your spices and you're making your rub. In my recipe, my secret sauce is yoshidas sauce. So I'm going to show you that. You could use, an easy olive oil spray like this. This sometimes is just a simple way to put it on your meat, but today we're going to pull that away. Also inside this ingredients, you're usually going to have some sort of a kosher salt. I'm going to pull that away from here and we're going to simplify this down to actually what I made in mine. So to simplify the recipe, we're going to use some brown sugar, we're going to use some black pepper, I've already put some granulated garlic, and this is my secret spice. This is the salt that we're using, but it's actually a spicy salt made by Tabasco. And then of course you got to add some heat. So I have pre-made this, and you can see here the thing that you got to always do with brown sugar is it wants to clump up. So I have already pre-mixed this up for us to make my rub. And to give you an idea, I have two tri-tips. One of them is 2.2 pounds, one is 2.3 pounds, so a total of 4.5 pounds of meat. And what you want to put on your meat is about 1 to 2 tablespoons per pound. And so I've got enough here for about 9 tablespoons. So what I want to show you first is a secret that I do. How do you get these ingredients onto the meat the simplest way? So I'm going to take a bowl like this, and I'm going to take my yoshidas sauce, and I'm actually going to, instead of pour it on the meat and make a mess on my cutting board here, I'm going to pour the yoshidas sauce right in here. Now, what this allows you to do is, it allows you to take the tri-tip, and it just let you run it through it once on one side, run it through again on the other side, and then you want to just let it drip for a second. And then what you'll notice here is you've got a nice simple glaze on the meat, and the meat's ready now for the seasoning. So take your seasoning. Like I said, I like to use, I'm going to use about, on a 2.3 pound tri-tip like what this one is, I'm going to use about 4 tablespoons total of my rub. And you just want to generously put it on the rub. The higher you drop it from, the more it'll spread out. Once you get one side, go ahead and flip it to the other. And you can rub it in just a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tri-tip, I'm going to let it sit in the kitchen, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for about an hour and let the seasonings just kind of soak into the meats, and we'll be right back in about an hour. Alright, so welcome back. Now we're outside and we're at the Camp Chef, and you didn't see me season, but I seasoned a second tri-tip, so now we've got both of them seasoned and ready to go. This is my Camp Chef here, you guys. The Camp Chef smoker, I've already preset the temperature to 225 degrees. The nice thing about this smoker is I can both keep track of the internal temperature of the barbecue, but I can also keep track of the internal temperature of the meat, and I'll show you that in a little bit. In the Northwest, we like to use a lot of fruit trees. We are lucky in this area that we have apple trees. Apple trees are right in Washington. So if you look in this hopper right here, we've got apple wood ready to go, and the smoker is already set at 225 degrees, and it's holding temperature really well. So let's open the Camp Chef Pro, and I'll put the tri-tips on there and we'll get started. So notice we got a nice clean rack there. We're going to put the tri-tips in the middle so that the smoke rolls up and hits this side first. They're on the smoker, and with this amount of meat, you're looking at about 2 to 3 hours. We'll come back out here in about an hour, hour and a half, and we'll check the temperatures, check the meat. I'll put the meat probe in at that time, and we'll see how things are going. Alright, so it's been about an hour. As you can see from my breath, you might be able to see a little bit of cold air coming off. It's fairly cold out here. I'd say it's probably getting down to 38, 39 degrees right now. But I've just filled up the hopper with our Washington apple pellets. I'm going to close that up here. And now I just want to make sure that the temperatures are maintaining. We've got it set to 225 and it's holding pretty well at 231. This Camp Chef Pro barbecue is excellent. It has a built-in probe, so I'm going to now enter the probe and insert it into the meat. And this allows me to keep track of the temperature of the meat. Actually, I don't even have to open the front of the barbecue, but I'm going to go ahead and open it and show you the tri-tip looks like it's doing well. You basically want to push the probe into the thickest portion of meat that you can find. And then in about another hour or so, we'll come and check the temperature, see how it's doing. Right now we're maintaining 225, and it should be another couple hours before the tri-tip finish. Alright guys, so it's been a total of a couple of hours that the tri-tips have been on the grill. And what we want to do now is we want to check and make sure the internal temperature of the Camp Chef is keeping temperature at 225. Then we also want to check the meat probe and see what temperature is going on there. So if you look at my Camp Chef, you can focus in here, you'll see the internal temperature is holding pretty well. It's at 222, and then I'm lucky I can just touch this probe temp. We can see that the temperature of the meat is 125. Our target goal is 140 degrees. At 140 you're about medium temperature. So now since I'm out here and I've been checking on the temperature, I'm going to go ahead and just put a little of my secret sauce, the yoshidas sauce, right on the meat to keep it from drying out. So if you look here, yep, they look great. The color on the tri-tips are amazingly great. But what I want to do here is just put a little bit of, oh yeah, look how nice that looks. Put a little bit of sauce right on there. And then what we'll do is, if you'll just we'll come back out here and check the meat temperature in another hour or so. May even be just another 30 to 45 minutes. We should be getting really close to that 140 degree temperature. Okay, so it's been about 2.5 hours. The meat should be getting really close, so I'm going to check the internal temperature of the meat and we'll know if it's ready. Again, remember the target temperature is 140 degrees to be at medium rare. That's a really good temperature to be at for tri-tip. So if we go down here, we can see the internal temperature by just touching the probe temp. And probe temp, yeah, we're actually at 143, so that's right on target of where we want to be. So we'll go ahead and pull the meat right now. I have my gloves on. I'm going to use just a cookie sheet, and we'll go ahead and pull both of these tri-tips and take them inside. Oh, look at the beautiful color on that. The meat is glistening still from that sauce that we put on there earlier, I should say, and it is looking great. I could dig into this right now. Okay, so as soon as you bring the meat in, you want to go ahead and tint it with some aluminum foil. The meat's going to continue to cook, and we'll do this for about 30 minutes. So you just want to use some aluminum foil. You'll go ahead and leave the tri-tip right on the cookie sheet here. And just want to wrap it in there tightly. And the meat will continue to cook, and in about 30 minutes or so we'll check the meat and it should be ready to cut. Okay, now the tri-tip has been tinted for about 30 minutes with the aluminum foil. So we're going to go ahead and remove the foil now. And one of the most important things that's next is cutting the tri-tip. So let's take this one, and I'm going to show you something. A lot of people feel that just the cooking of a tri-tip is what matters for the tenderness. The flavor is already there. You can see the color's just perfect. We're going to cut into it and see how the smoke ring looks and things like that. But on a tri-tip, you want to cut a straight line right here. So the first cut you're going to make is right through the meat. This portion of the tri-tip, you can see the grain inside here. I'm going to turn this towards you. You want the grains running this way. So what you want to do is, the grain is actually running this way. So what you want to do is cut against the grain. So I'm going to cut this way. Now as the tri-tip flows, the muscle has two different muscles that combine right here. So the grain's running this way and then it comes down the meat this way. So you've got to make sure on the tri-tip that you cut this into about 3 different pieces. So let's start right here. I like to cut just kind of on a 45-degree angle. And you're just cutting clear down to about a 1/4 of an inch, maybe I'd say a 1/4, even towards a 1/2. And when I get to this point, I have to always taste it and see how it tastes. See the color there? The mahogany color with the seasoning on the outside. That tastes really good. So again, go ahead and make your cuts. You're going to finish this tri-tip on this side like this. And then before I finish this, I'll show you what I meant over here. So because of the grain going this way, you're going to take this piece and you're going to cut a little bit longer piece. And you can kind of see the smoke ring inside here. And you'll really get the best, most tender piece when you make sure that the cut is correct. And then finally, the way the meat turns, when you get down to this end, you'll actually cut against the grain here. So that's the tri-tip. If you like this recipe and you like what you've seen today, please subscribe below, like this video, and I'll be making another video next week.